For my business owners and entrepreneurs, times are tough, or are they? Isn't it interesting how some people can see the worst of times when others can see it's the best of times and see great opportunity? Today, we're talking about pivots in your business. Welcome to Ace Monday Mastery. Got a story to tell. Let me break it down. I hired in with bright eyes, but this team was disjointed. My project in full effect. This is my appointment. The point man, my moment to show and prove their choice was the best it could be. No matter who the other choice was. Fast forward, they all saw it. I blew it out the water. We got paid. Recall, this team had a disorder. Shade was on the border and moved from the epitome of team synergy. Now they talking about getting rid of me. What, are you kidding me? Maybe it's the kid in me. Mom's daily mystery, trying to configure what would dinner be. Now I'm a grown man. Take my homegrown stance. With steel in my back, I could steal out the back. Take a knapsack, some tacks, a scanner and a fax. But if security steal me, I'ma have to steal them back. Alternative facts, pain. I want them to hurt well. I'm an ace and they rather low performing personnel. Why Monday and why mastery? It ain't hard to tell. By now, you know ACE stands for attitude, competence, and evidence. So when we come to our work week on Monday morning, you have to have a plan. You have to know where you want to end. I always say start with the end in mind. So that starts with the right attitude. But you also, in making that plan, have to be able to align the things you have to do with the amount of time that you have throughout the week. That's the competence part. And if you do that effectively, by the end of the week, you'll be able to have the evidence that you have aced your work week. I could play a role and won't have to audition. Your position's a blip on the radar of my vision. This starts my decision. I wonder why I'm tripping. Is this a firing or firing up of my ignition? But it all starts on Monday. And it all starts with you right here. Who said Monday had to be the worst day of the week? Come on. I know you had a great weekend, but it's Monday, another day to give God thanks and another day to go out and get it and make it happen. I'm Jamin Ferreira, Chief Strategist and founder of Ace Work Life. Welcome to another Monday Mastery. Today, we're talking about pivot. That's the focus. While many people feel like right now it's a terrible time, companies are laying off people, prices are going up. There's a lot of things to look at and say it's negative. But we've all heard stories about people like Warren Buffett. Sure, he's a super billionaire. But the fact remains that he's able to see opportunities and take advantage of opportunities in down markets. And I think a lot of people that may have issue with that, there's a lot of different perspectives. Personally, I think it's because maybe they weren't positioned or you weren't positioned to make the same moves. And so, you mad, bro? I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't want to hang a nail there. But I think when we recently talked about change on a separate Mastery Monday, we focused on general changes and changes that you can make in your personal and professional life. Today, I really want to focus in on those of you that are entrepreneurs, those of you that are business owners, those of you that aspire to be entrepreneurs, or maybe you're in a startup mode. Are you doing the right things? And so we're going to talk about pivots and pivots that you might be able to make or need to make. But before we do, we got to ace the Proverbs. It's Monday morning. Today is the 9th. So we're going to focus on Proverbs 9, and it's a really short one. Proverbs 9, verse 11. It says, "For by me your days will be multiplied, and your years will be added to your life." By me. Who is by me? Well, if you read the entire chapter 9, matter of fact, in the beginning of chapter 9, the heading is the way of wisdom. Verse 1 says, "Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn her 7 pillars." So this whole chapter is talking about wisdom. And wisdom is saying, "For by me, your days will be multiplied and years added to your life." This goes back to what we're talking about today in terms of pivots. How does it connect? Well, people are nervous about the economy, nervous about upcoming elections, who's going to be leading, they're worried about all kinds of things. Aliens, there's so many things that people are worried about for various reasons. Wisdom is saying, don't worry about all these ancillary things. Don't worry about if you're going to survive. Don't worry about if you're going to make it. Wisdom that's associated with wisdom from the Lord, or that's associated with the Lord being wisdom, says, "For by me, by wisdom, by you receiving me and taking heed to my words, your days will be multiplied." and years will be added to your life. Well, how does that equate to provision? Think about it. If by wisdom your days will be multiplied and years will be added to your life, how will you be sustained unless provision is also multiplied along with your days and the years that's added to your life? So, by virtue of your days being multiplied and years being added, provision has to come into play. So, don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what you're going to wear. Your Father who's in heaven is going to provide those things for you. Proverbs 9:11. For by me, your days will be multiplied and years will be added to your life. All right. You got that? Don't worry about the provision. Now, you may need to make a pivot in your thinking in order to make room for those days to be multiplied and those years to be added. There may be a pivot in what you're doing and the things that you're saying. Let's look at the ACE definition of pivot, right? Pivot, P-I-V-O-T. The ACE definition is to position intangible value over transactions. The pivot you may need to make in your business is to position intangible value over transactions. What do I mean by intangible? Let's lean into this a little bit. Intangible means unable to be touched or grasped, not having physical presence. So we're all trying to figure out as a business owner, how can I increase my bottom line? How can I increase my revenues? And sometimes you're more focused on the bottom line than the top line in the intangibles and things that you're putting out, how you're being received in the community, and things that don't always directly correlate to a number, or at least not in the short term. So I want you to expand your thinking a little bit. What are the things that I can do as we're talking about this? What are the things that I can do in my business to highlight the intangibles and start thinking more long term? What are those intangibles? Let's take a look at some intangibles and the importance of them. One is trust and credibility. Do I have a brand that people can trust? When I promise somebody I'm going to deliver something, do I deliver it on time? Do I follow up proactively? Or do people have to hound me to say, hey, what about that refund? Or hey, what about that other piece of the deliverable that you were going to send me? When you're proactive, it shows people that they matter. It shows them that you're on their mind. You haven't forgotten them. That goes a long way. So you may have a contract in place with someone and feel like, oh, I got them already. I'm looking for the next person. Well, you realize that if you don't treat that person well, that can cost you referrals down the road. And that could cost you that client account. So trust and credibility is extremely important. What about long-term loyalty? Again, do you want a transaction for a moment or do you want a customer for life? If you're taking care of people and they feel valued and they feel heard and they feel that you're thinking about their business and their needs beyond your own, even in a way that maybe they haven't even considered. I haven't even considered that. You're thinking about that. That's somebody that's going to be with you for a very long time. Word of mouth and organic growth. Again, your reputation, the marketing dollars that you put out, you may not have to put out as many marketing dollars if you're focused on these intangibles. If you pivot to focus on intangibles rather than dropping a lot of money in marketing, which is like a cold audience, people don't know you. You have to build credibility with them. You have to build relationship with them. It takes time. So you're building up a pipeline for people to convert maybe later on. But if I have a friend that has done business with you and that friend goes and tells the next person about the exchanges that they had, it already just kind of brings down the barrier. Oh, okay. If you worked at Jay, then I know you're good. Right now, that will do a whole lot in terms of expanding your reach. And you may not have to put as much marketing dollars out. Right. So focus more on the people that you should be serving rather than just the bottom line. Obviously, we're all in business to make money, but that money that you receive should be evidence that you are doing the job well done. It should be evidence that you're taking care of people, evidence that you have a great product or service. That is the evidence when we talk about ACE, attitude, competence, evidence. The evidence of success in your business are those revenues increasing, are the people that you work with, client, customer satisfaction. Do you ask them like, how am I doing? Do you want to know? Do you really know how you're doing and you really don't want to ask? There could be that situation too. But if you're asking people how am I doing and you sincerely want to know, they'll give you feedback. Then you can incorporate those changes. Okay. So we're in a day and age where there's a lot of when I say customers could be your end customers. So the end users of whatever your product or service are, or it could also be your in-house customers, your employees. Are you taking care of your employees? Do you need to pivot and make sure that you're taking care of them? Not just, hey, do your job. You get paid to do a job, give you money. That's how I take care of them. Well, they're not obligated to stay with you, right? Even if they have a contract, they can wait till the end of the contract, or they can break it now and leave. People leave for all kinds of reasons. But if you give them a reason to stay, there's no reason for them to entertain wanting to go somewhere else. And it's interesting because we're in a day and age where, as a business owner, especially if a small business owner and you work remotely, or you don't have maybe a set place, or even if you do have a set location to do business, you probably have a virtual assistant, right? You've heard about VAs in America and different countries. You don't even have to have somebody in the office these days. If you have a virtual assistant, your mindset might be more transactional. I need you to do this task, do this task, do this task. And depending on where the person is in their mindset, they might just be coming just to do a task. So this is where it's important for you to see the value in the people that you work with, even if they're not employees, if they're contractors, or if they're virtual assistants and they start doing a task for you, you start realizing, wait a minute, there's something more than just this transaction. I'm seeing some intangible assets that this person has, and I want to pour into them more. Maybe there's another opportunity for them to work in my company in a different way. And there's a lot of companies that have more contractors than employees, or it might be right about the same. And some companies treat their contractors very different than employees because in their mind, it's the level of commitment. Now, there's certain legal issues where you can't treat contractors the same way, the benefits and things like that. I'm not talking about the legalities. I'm talking about the mindset and how you engage people. There's one specific company that I've worked with that does a phenomenal job with treating contractors as their employees. They're one and the same, and it's intangible. It makes those contractors decide, you know what, this is a place that I want to work at long term, or at least contract long term. This is a great place to work. So how are you treating your people? Are you continuing to just do transactions, or are you starting to look at intangibles and considering the intangibles of what it is that you do and how you show up? Let's talk about a real business case before we go into the ACE activation. You all know the story of Apple. Okay. I'm not going to talk about Android. If you're an Android person, just listen in. There may be hope for you. I'm constantly trying to get my sister to realize the light of this side with Apple devices, but it's been a long time. Neither here nor there. Apple originally positioned themselves as a computer-centric company. And with the introduction of the iPod in 2001, they were making a strategic pivot. And so rather than just focusing on those intangibles, on those transactions, they started to focus on intangibles such as user experience, design, lifestyle integration. So not just looking at how many computers I could sell, how many widgets I can sell, but what is our customer really looking for? So in this is a case where they actually consider the intangibles in their actual product. That's another level. I was initially just in this broadcast talking about intangibles that you can offer in addition to your product or service. They decided to, you know what, let's rethink our product and think about the intangibles. And so when you think about it, what did? They created an iconic brand. So they expanded their brand identity, broadened their consumer base, and now they're one of the big four tech companies, billions of dollars, and the influence, that they have. So that's just one well-known documented case of a company trying to and needing to pivot so that they can go higher in their business and extend their reach. For the ACE activation of this week, what I would like for you to do, I would like for you to consider your value proposition. So I want you to do a value proposition check. And it's 3 steps, 3 simple steps. Number one, I want you to identify and list your business's intangible values of the things that we've discussed. Is it trust, credibility? Is it word of mouth? Is it recognition? Is it reputation? Is it the way you talk? Is it you ask no questions when someone wants to return something? Like you give them their money back right away, money back guarantee, or you stand by your product so much so that you're gonna like whatever it is. I want you to think about what are those intangibles that you offer, and I want you to reflect: are these intangibles values that are being prioritized over transactions? Do you have them? Are they at the forefront? Or do you have them and they're just on the back burner somewhere because you're focused on the bottom line? I got to get transactions. I got to grow this business because all the needs of my customer, my people, the needs of my family, my financial goals, and all those things are kind of stressing you out. Again, back to the Proverbs, your days will be multiplied and years will be added. Okay. So move with wisdom. And then number three, I want you to implement. I want you to bring one intangible value to the forefront this week. So whichever ones you've identified that, you know what, this is a really low hanging fruit. This is a high value. I can immediately bring this. Maybe it's a change in a phone script. Maybe it's a change in a marketing post or something that you put out. Maybe it's a offering, a free offering. Maybe it's a first step in the process of your roadmap when you're engaging with somebody. What is that one intangible thing that I can add this week? Okay. So now for the bottom line, again, we're wanting to focus on the lasting impact over the immediate gain. That's it. That is your Ace Monday mastery. This week, I want you to pivot. Again, if you like this content, I want you to like, comment, share if you're getting anything from this. With a business owner, with an entrepreneur, with a family member who you know is wanting to grow professionally and change their life and change and go to high levels in their career so that myself, you, and them can master your work and the art of living. I'm Jabin Ferrer. I'll see you next time.